Hello, my name is Heath Jones, and welcome to the Northwood Podcast. This podcast is brought to you by Northwood Christian Church, located in Indianapolis, Indiana, with more than a little help from All Indiana Podcast Network. And if you'd like to learn more about us, please visit our website at www.indyncc.org. That's INDYNCC.org, or check us out on Facebook by searching for Northwood Christian Church. And if you'd like to learn more about All Indiana Podcast Network, please visit their site, www.allindianapodcastnetwork.com, and check out the various podcasts that they host. Now, periodically, there will be advertisements during this podcast, and these are added later after I've sent out the recording. So I don't know what ads you'll hear or exactly when you'll hear them, but to avoid confusion, just know that they are coming. All this being said, Easter. Easter is upon us. So I'd like to share some thoughts about it, but first I'd like to read the Gospel of Mark's telling of the story. Today's reading comes from Mark chapter 16, verses 1 through 8, and the story goes, "When the Sabbath was over, Mary Magdalene and Mary the mother of James and Salome bought spices so that they might go and anoint him. And very early on the first day of the week, when the sun had risen, they went to the tomb. They had been saying to one another, 'Who will roll away the stone for us from the entrance to the tomb?' When they looked up, they saw that the stone, which was very large, had already been rolled back. As they entered the tomb, they saw a young man dressed in a white robe sitting on the right side, and they were alarmed. But he said to them, 'Do not be alarmed. You are looking for Jesus of Nazareth, who was crucified. He has been raised. He is not here. Look, there is the place they laid him. But go, tell his disciples and Peter that he is going ahead of you to Galilee. There you will see him, just as he told you.' So they went out and fled from the tomb, for terror and amazement had seized them. And they said nothing to anyone, for they were afraid." My Bible contains a footnote just after verse 8, which tells the reader that the earliest copies that we have of Mark's gospel end right here, with the women fleeing in terror and amazement, not telling anyone, and afraid. It ends with the word afraid. Apparently, some ancient readers did not find this ending satisfactory, especially when Mark's telling of the story is compared to the other Gospels, which have far more detailed and expansive endings, which is why there have been several addendums to Mark's Gospel, which have been tacked on to the end. But on most years, I personally like the original. It speaks to me in ways that I will now describe. According to Mark's Gospel, the women who discover the empty tomb leave that space torn between terror and amazement. What a dichotomy. What a place to exist emotionally. According to Mark's telling, the narrative leaves off with the tension taut between anxiety and fear on one hand and hope, dare I say, and expectant joy, maybe, on the other. Dare they believe the good news that they have just heard from this strange man by the tomb? It's almost too terrible to contemplate this reckless hope. If it were true, then this changes everything. But if the promise were empty, then we wish we had never heard the alleged good news. For what good is quote unquote good news if it is based on a lie? It had better be true, or if not, it will break our hearts, as lies often do. And this is how Easter feels to me each year. We say, "He is risen," and everyone agrees, and we are told that this means that for us, there will be life upon life on the other side of whatever variant of death we face. When our loved ones die, we hope for their own resurrection, and when we breathe our last, we hope for our own resurrection. When dreams die, we hope that another dream will come. When we put down our best laid plans and when those crash and burn, we hope for new possibilities to emerge from their ashes. We are told these things, and like the women at the tomb, we have not yet experienced the fullness of their reality. They could only take the words of that white-robed man, a complete stranger, and they had to take his words at face value. But who knows? Congregants can only take the word of an ancient text spoken about by some worked up preacher promising them the moon with a suspicious level of drummed up enthusiasm that leaves one wondering, does the preacher even really believe it? I do. And I need to. And here's why. After the year we've had, I've got to believe that help is on the way. After the loss of life, the loss of plans, the loss of a spring, summer, and a winter, after spouses have buried their husbands and wives, and after children have laid their parents to rest, after a year during which wives and husbands have been kept apart whilst one or the other waits in long-term care facilities for the air to clear and the virus to abate, after a year during which grandparents could not hold their children and grandchildren on Christmas, after a year of political upheaval, bipartisan anger, the demonization of the other, dread and disbelief in the reality around us, after a year like this, I could go on and on and on, and boy, don't you know it, after a year like we've had. It is after this year, of all years, that a stranger tells we hopeless disciples, expecting to find a dead Jesus, do not be alarmed. You are looking for Jesus of Nazareth, who was crucified. He has been raised. He is not here. Then the stranger leaves us, but the echo of his voice carries through the centuries to this present moment and is repeated again and again each year on Easter, and sometimes in the space in between. And this year, I need to believe it more than I ever did. Today, I will believe it. The central claim is this: there is a power in God that calls life from every dead place, resurrected life from every tomb. Nations rise and then they fall. Grandma gets buried in the family plot. Sometimes our children are buried in the family plot, and too soon. Crops fail and shorelines flood. Literal earthquakes shake the foundations of our buildings, and the metaphorical ones threaten to undo our world. And when Jesus was executed, the movement was over, until it wasn't. And the power that reconstituted Jesus' broken body is alive and active in the world. God's Holy Spirit calling us ever closer towards our redemption. Can you feel it? That's Easter. The challenge for us will be what to do when we leave this moment. When we in our own way flee the tomb, unsure of what we found there, torn between hope and fear, fear and amazement. Hope would swallow up fear in time for those women and the disciples. Hope would carry them beyond that moment, and they would find the words of the man at the tomb to be true against all odds. And those words, if you can muster the faith to believe it, are still true. Jesus has defeated death, and because he is our brother in humanity, we share in his life. So are you brokenhearted? Are you afraid? Are you torn between terror and amazement? It's okay. You're in good company. You don't need very much faith right now, for when you leave this moment with the little faith you've got, you'll discover that the God who calls life out of death is still on our side. God is leading us ever nearer to the springs of life on the other side of the valley of death's shadow. Each moment that passes us by brings us a moment closer to the fullness of life we were made for. Can you believe it? No? Perhaps it does not matter. Sooner than later, you will discover it to be true. That is my conviction. But for now, on this Easter, I'll muster up enough faith for the both of us, and I think that will be enough. This has been the Northwood Podcast. As we said earlier, if you want to learn more about Northwood Christian Church, please visit our website at www.ndncc.org or search for Northwood Christian Church on Facebook. If you enjoyed the podcast, please subscribe to receive notice of future episodes. Until next time, grace and peace, and on this week, happy Easter.